Hi everyone, welcome back to Through Alchemy. So today's reading is going to be all about recognizing your own worth. So we're going to dive into your current energy, a specific situation, whatever resonates with you. You can be called towards one or more piles, or even three is what I'm hearing. So we have three piles from the left to right. The first pile is Calcite cluster. The second pile is Amethyst. And the third pile is Green Aventurine. Pause if you need a little longer, pick the one which calls your name the most. So now I'm going to begin with pile number one. Hello pile number one, if you choose the Calcite cluster, this is going to be your reading. So the first card that we have for you is Passion. Passionate from miles away, passive with the things you say. We have Farther Gate, bold step forward, balancing act, dancing on one foot. Reflection. I feel like right now you're in this place where you're reevaluating a lot of things. I feel like intuitively you are already stepping into your worth. In some shape or form, you are recognizing what life really means to you, is what I'm picking up. What I'm hearing under construction. So like you've already probably been in this process of, perhaps a hermit, but I'm getting like more like you recently came out of dark night of the soul. So there's no timeline to it. Like it could be that it happened even like 6 months ago or something like that, or you're still in it. And I feel like you have a lot of passion right now for life. Like you have this enthusiasm, there's this rhythm that you're keeping up with, but somehow you're trying to understand what road to take moving forward, or there's some sort of inclination, right? There's something that this inner work is guiding you towards, right? Because you're finding yourself, so you're reevaluating things, you're discarding, decluttering. I'm seeing the image of somebody doing a lot of decluttering in their house. That could be literally or just in the sense of like the internal work that you're doing. So it's helping you eradicate a lot of limiting beliefs, it's helping you understand, I'm hearing reap the rewards, as well as like learn from your mistakes. Something about the way you're moving forward is contradictory to perhaps your shadow self, because it's always been a certain way. I'm hearing lay of the land, perhaps like that's a card in the what you call this, a Shaman's Dream Oracle. So it's like ancestral wisdom. And I'm picking up over here that you are learning or understanding where to move forward. So this reading is not just based upon relationships. This is in accumulation with all aspects of your life. But one example I do get is perhaps exiting a situation or a partnership or a collaborative, I'm hearing collaborative force, but it's more like rather than investing in the other person or people, places or things, or your momentum is more self-oriented right now, or it's gaining towards, like it's gaining momentum towards that. The energy is amplifying towards it because of the way that you are understanding. So it's very interesting that what do we call this deck, Prism Oracle, we have these two mirroring images. One is blue and one is red. So this is about your authentic self and the root chakra. So perhaps you could have suffered with a lot of joint pain, shoulder ache, or definitely lower back pain, lower abdomen as well. I'm seeing that a lot of it used to come from your root chakra, right? And also maybe you were falling quite sick because you were not taking care of yourself. You were going against what you should have been doing, or what you knew inside your heart that you should be doing. So there could have been physical symptoms of discomfort within your soul. Also, I'm getting like blisters on your hands or something like that. It's like a new step moving forward, and 55 is also a mirroring number yet again. So the situation, the way I see it, prevails is more in the sense of aligning with what your heart tells you to do. And I feel like you could have been really scared to walk with spirit, walk with your own higher self, walk on the path that it was carving out for you, because for few months or years there has been a lot of deep underground working on yourself. So your current energy is kind of like coming out of the dark, coming out of the cave, or um you know that feeling when you sit in the dark too much and suddenly like or you wake up and then suddenly like the sun rays is just hit your eyes, or it's just too bright for you, and your eyes are not able to handle the brightness. That's what I'm seeing over here. It's like that notion of finally having a ground to play with, or to exercise your liberty at last, where you had felt like you were kept isolated for a really long time. I'm seeing that this phase is probably coming to an end, or it already has. However it fits, okay? Let's just keep it a little vague with the present, past, and future tense. So I see that you you're having to finally make judgment calls, and I don't mean to make it sound very prominent. It is prominent, let's agree on that, because this is like now you have a blank canvas, right? The playground I was mentioning, and now you have the playground to build upon it. Like, you imagine you have an empty plot of land, and now you're deciding how to really, like, you're becoming the architect of your own life. That is the, building that we're going to build upon the playground, or the plot, excuse me. And you're deciding what items to use and what's the blueprint at first, right? First comes the lay of the land, basically, right? So your intuition is actually guiding you at this moment as to what it is that you can make of it. And I'm hearing sky is the limit for you, because you are very perverse to certain vocabularies. Like, you need to stop doing that, you need to do this. I feel like you feel controlled when somebody tries to tell you what to do, and perhaps your intuition is also telling you certain things, but you don't want to do that because you certainly still are building your rapport with the divine as well, or whatever you want to call it. And sometimes these things feel very restrictive because for a very long time you have been in isolation, so you haven't felt like doing mundane things, like, I don't know, getting drunk, wasting away your time, wasting your life, being in aimless toxic relationships, like things that are so normalized these days, which kind of, and this is just my perception, which kind of portray a certain amount of leniency of free will, whereas it is just self-destruction. So walking towards your best self and your potential, and I'm not being cliche about this, does require discipline, right? So when your intuition tells you that you need to do this or that, you feel confined because you feel like, again, I'm having to work so hard on myself. I'm not getting that leniency or leverage in life to just honestly mess around. So I see that over here. Perhaps this is something that you should reflect upon, where you feel like it could have been your parental figures who probably caged you in too much. You felt controlled, like you don't have the space to be yourself. So a lot of these rules, or perhaps quote unquote the discipline that came, was into molding you into somebody that they wanted you to be, excuse me. So I just burped. And I think that I've been gasping a lot in your reading. So I do feel that this has been very fast paced for you. And certain truths or certain inner child woundings are still yet to be revealed to you when it comes to um, a very deep subconscious pattern that has been playing out perhaps since, you were an infant, or like first 7 years of your childhood, or perhaps first 10 years. So those things that have really shaped you into this person, or at least your psyche, I want you to come up, and they're quite painful, because they have always been a crooked foundation. However that foundation was, it has already been yours. It has already felt like home, right? So now the home is being broken down, right? That's what I'm saying. Thank you, Spirit. So they already gave me the word of construction, because this is giving me like creating your own self inside with a very firm foundation, a stable foundation. And I just keep feeling the need to remind you that this is not some baloney that I'm throwing out there just because you're watching a tarot reading. This is actually the truth of your life. If you're watching this reading right now, you are really constructing what you will what you will reap 20 years from now. So if you're a teenage, if you're in your late 30s, whatever your age is, this is what your future will look like. What you're putting in right now is what your future will look like. So again, there is a sense of discipline that I feel compelled to mention over here, because it's not at all to make you feel like of course, there is labor intensive work over here, but it is very prominent because now you're finally coming out and you have a blank canvas. So, it's not just the wisdom that you're carrying, but it's also important to listen to your intuition so that you can actually create the life that you know in 20 years or down the lane you will enjoy. It's not based on temporary gratification at its very least. To be genuinely precise about it, right now, maybe you're feeling like you missed out, you didn't have your childhood, you didn't have the time to quote unquote fuck around basically with your time. I am seeing the Jupiter card. This is like Wheel of Fortune, cycles ending, nurturing your own energies. But one thing that I keep seeing is a lot of understanding, like, hey, what's my blueprint, right? Like what's my life gonna be like, honestly. So now we open the card number 9. This is like the card of independence for me. This is dancing on one foot, balancing act. For me, I don't see this as a wobbly effect. I see this as you trying to multitask. Maybe you're poor at that. I am actually. And having to take on life responsibilities when you have been in the bubble or the divine's protection, not to forget that you are still under their protection and supervision in a way. I think that more things are opening up for you to be independent and not to be safeguarded like a baby. And I feel like this is an act where you're learning how to make choices for yourself. It's not that you'll be punished for making wrong choices. This is exactly how you got here, with all like the accumulation of the intelligence that you have, emotional and I'm hearing welfare, well-being awareness in some shape or form. Like, maybe I did pick up on this tone that because of your childhood you have had abused your body because you didn't know how to treat it well. Your eating patterns, substance abuse, overthinking, mental health, self-care, boundaries, needs, wants and needs, standing in your own power, sovereignty, and etc, etc. So a lot of these things that include being a stable and independent adult or individual is the path that you are on, or you already have stepped into it. Relatively, I feel like this is the energy of somebody that I'm talking to. I'm telling you that yes, you have done a lot of hard work on yourself, and at this point now my throat is like scrapping up. It's like it is difficult for you to accept and be proud of yourself. And what I see in seeing your own worth is a very individualistic perspective, where you still see yourself as your past. You still see yourself as that, I'm getting the word broken, like that broken person. You're not that anymore. Like, I mean, honestly, stop telling yourself that story. You feel sorry for yourself. I get it, life has been tough, but kind of like imposing that tail on yourself is really harming your mental health in the way you can see yourself. So if somebody meets you today, they're going to be like, this is a very well-rounded person, and they look like they really take care of themselves and they're in touch with themselves because they understand what they need from life and themselves and other people as well. You have really worked hard on your communication skills and to understand what are your needs and wants. That's one thing I'm really understanding, because you could have been really neglected in your childhood. So when I see that coming over here, it's almost like recognizing your worth in this situation would be that to really give yourself the credit that, hey, I worked a fuck a lot on myself, and I deserve to not criticize myself or see myself as that poor little girl or boy that I used to be. So it's more in the sense where you recognize that you are a functional adult right now and you are capable of taking care of yourself. You are not the same person who used to exist like a few years back, because you are a grown adult now, or you're becoming that. Especially if you're a teenager, you're becoming that. And the way I see it, somebody who's 52 years old over here, or 1952 is what I'm getting. But something about it is like realizing that you do not have to depend on others the way you used to. And where it comes as a worry for money or something, if it's not been flowing, you'll figure it out. That's what is important, to at least see. If you don't have a good body, mind, and soul, your health is down, how are you going to keep up with the consistency of any job or career, or and pursuing any passion? So this process was very important for you to isolate, go in hibernation, to work, basically go underground to work on yourself, right? Am I right or am I wrong? So we have the death, of course, and we have the Ten of Wands in reverse. So I do get this energy where, what we spoke about, all of it is literally right in front of you. The Ten of Wands with the death scorpionic energy, which is very, very prevalent as to purging, and especially addictions. Like, you could be still working on them, you have been working on them, and I don't think that you had just one addiction. Addictions can be of many types. So I see that you don't give yourself credit. You have a very critical inner voice, or you're working towards it. I think that if you already have been taking therapy, it's been working amazingly for you. It's been doing a lot of help for you. If you haven't and you can afford it, that would be a good thing. Otherwise, there's always an option to turn on to meditation and journaling, because when you don't have a professional, your higher self is the best to guide you, and then to do the inner work, to acknowledge, to process the feelings. Journaling is very important over there, right? So seeing your worth at this point, fire number one, really comes down to the fact as to you need to accept that your past is in the past. It's not coming up. And if it's coming up to haunt you, it means there's still a few things to declutter, right? But I want you to understand, what I'm telling you is that, yes, it feels burdensome to understand that we've not reached that perfect person that we want to be. But healing is a lifelong journey, and that doesn't mean that you will not reach that point where you feel completely secure, because you've been working damn hard on it. So acknowledge what you have done and where you have come right now, instead of focusing on the destination. All right. So pile number one, this was your reading. I'm going to leave it here. I really do hope that you found a message that was helpful. If you did, please do hit the like button. Subscribe for more. Hit the bell icon so you know whenever I upload next. Let me know down in the comment section how that resonated. Information of personal readings is given down below. And I'm going to see you guys in another one. Bye. Hello, pile number two. If you chose the Amethyst, this is going to be your reading. So first card that we have for you, Caterpillar, opportunity number 4, space. I'm going to use this in a bit. Whale song resonating 61. You've been working with your animal spirits, so whatever that is for you. I just heard asparagus. I'm going to take the Three of Swords in reverse. It has been difficult. I'm seeing that. It has been difficult. Space, yeah. We have another one. I'm gonna put this back in the deck. Bottom of the deck, we have the Fool. We had Four of Pentacles in our hand. So rejuvenation. Okay, there has been a lot of struggle with yourself. However, it was brought upon to you from the external reality, because that was a manifestation of what was already going on inside, or um, what had already festered, what had already been wounded inside, what had already become concrete. So this could be about childhood wounds, or it could just be about recent relationships, or subconscious patterns really resurfacing. Whatever it is, you name it, I think that it was time for it to bubble up. So what I see over here is that the current energy is a kind of a past tense, is what I pick up, like the aftermath of an upheaval, a tower moment, multiple tower moments, or like something that has forced you to surrender to the divine, which has, like, I'm hearing like a cry for help. I'm hearing the song Call Out My Name, I think it's by Weekend, but this is more like you have had to cry it out. You have had to purge it out. You have had to feel it to heal it over here. The last card that we have is growth. Yeah. This is really like you couldn't escape it anymore, because whatever happened in your external reality was pinching, irritating. You were not able to, basically, the image of somebody who's feeling restless, who's not able to sit in one place. They feel really, really just restless. Like in life, they're not satisfied. They want to go from here to there. They're not okay anywhere. They're doing, like you could be also workaholic, like you're doing your things, you're getting your things done, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're going to the gym, you're doing to this class, you're going to see this friend, you're spending time with people, you're spending time with your beau, I don't know. It's just like you're spending a lot of time with different people or things and places, and just to not feel what you wanted to feel for a really long time, right? And it had to come up. It could also be that it is in this process, you are in this process, excuse me. For majority of it, I feel like it has already happened, and you're kind of like collecting the pieces of it. You're looking at your heart, you're looking at how it makes you feel. Furthermore, what this situation has really taught you with the opportunity card, like what this situation has taught you, not just what provoked this, but how the provocation has resulted in your growth, has made you look inside as to things that already bother you a lot, has made you has reminded you of your parents. Like there's so much hesitation in the enunciation of this reading, is just to understand what I'm feeling over here. Like you could not word these emotions, you could not put it out there. You probably have been isolating, you probably have been wanting your own place, because at this point I feel like you really wanted that space to just be by your emotions. And I feel like a part of you could have judged them, or is becoming more soft to yourself. So you could have watched pile number 1 or 3. I feel like pile number 2, you're going to watch another pile. Depends upon your situation. Okay. So I'm feeling that it's almost this energy. I'm getting a message, I can't escape it, that you can watch pile number 3 for your past. If that resonates, however it does. Okay. It's just to understand that what has fallen apart now gives you this space to just let it be. It's almost a thing where we just let things fall apart so that they can fall into place. So maybe you were holding on to something, and even if by ignorance is bliss. Like you were just ignoring it, you're still holding on to it because it's not coming out, it's just sitting inside you. It's like distilled water. There's so much stagnancy, it's getting like dirty, there's gunk in it, and it smells, it stinks, or it's just, smelling and stinking in the way like it's deteriorating your health, or perhaps your happiness, your mental health, your emotional health. So this opportunity, whoever this person, place, thing, whatever happened that you remember as being quite significant, could have been just a stranger that you fell for, or you realized romantic obsession. I'm getting a few examples. Or it could have been a rejection, it could have been a refusal of a job, or it could have just been a no, is what I'm seeing over here. That could have broken down maybe a rejection wound, or it could have triggered a rejection wound, or certain sort of insecurities, because insecurities are not very small. The way we just tell, like, oh my god, my hair is so short, my nose is so big, and we kind of diminish the value of physical insecurities because they feel like, oh, just accept how it is. But it really comes down to the fact that, do you think somebody is going to accept you with the nose that you don't like? I'm just getting an example. You have a beautiful nose, pile number 2. But this is that if you remove all your talents, if you remove the things that you work so hard on, if you remove your accomplishments that you wear as a badge of honor, which is actually in secret between you and I, things that you are collecting so that you can prove yourself to be worthy of love, this part of you really came out, where it was like, or perhaps it could have been like meeting a person who seems fulfilled within themselves, and you're like, what can I offer them? Because you're so used to bringing to the table, giving them your all, that you realize, like, oh my god, where do I fit in their life? Or it could be that somebody rejected you, or it just made you feel like, I have the anticipation of rejection over here. N number of things that I can see over here. Even if one resonated, I'm very glad. But I see that over here, that you were triggered in your life to face a part of you which was holding you back, whether it be commitment, whether it be career. It's just something quite major over here, whether it be moving out or just manifesting a people, place, or thing. It could be related to a person, because it almost feels like rejection or feeling unworthy of love. So we have 2 of Wands and we have the 10 of Swords, of course. This is like an inner child wound. Wow, I'm really not able to speak over here. Like, you probably do have a lot of difficulty in voicing out how you feel. That's one emotion that I picked up. And you really want to be comforted at this point in your life. And I see that it's not that you can't get that comfort, but it's that to get that understanding of where this rejection wound is stemming from. Where do you feel unworthy? Why do you feel like you won't be accepted for who you are? Why do you keep counting your flaws as, it's almost like you go on this like a mechanism to prove to yourself that this is why that happened, or it can happen because I have this. So it's self-fulfilling. It's like, I know this belief, or I have this belief for the really for the longest time in my life, and now somebody is in front of me, or some opportunity is in front of me, that is actually a manifestation of my inner reality, and it is showing me that, hey, this belief exists within you, and right now my brain is telling me that this person will not accept me, and this opportunity I will not get. You know why? Because I already believe that I am unworthy, because I have this belief. So let me go ahead and fucking fulfill that self-fulfilling prophecy, because this is how I've always lived, and this is my comfort zone, and this is what I think I am worth of. Period, point blank. I almost feel like I am I don't know, a gut feeling in me tells me that this is very accurate with your energies over here. That you're almost like finding reasons to justify how you genuinely feel about yourself on a subconscious psyche level. So actually having to break this down with the 2 of Wands is to understand that, hey, you know what, whatever the fuss you have created about yourself is actually false. You are a very well-equipped, well-rounded, fully functioning adult who's beautiful, who's just honestly very sexy, and it's just like you have everything, and you just want to keep recreating that for yourself. And again, I am not saying that you purposely like to hurt yourself, but sometimes our comfort zone has been that small and suffocating that it is what feels like comforting. So when we have always been criticized, we like when we're supposedly, I'm getting the example of a child, like that child, that very mundane example, that child scores a 98 out of 100, and they show us that the parent was like, why did you lose 2 marks, and the child just gets so feels so depreciated and like demotivated by the fact that it worked so hard and there's just 2 numbers missing, because that's kind of impractical. But still, the parent is not appreciative of the child's 98% of hard work that it came through out of 100 marks, and still finding those 2% flaws. So who the fuck made you feel like that? Para number 2, which parent of yours, or which family members, or which girlfriend, boyfriend, friend in your past or your teenage or even in the recent past made you feel like no matter what you do, you are not enough? Because let me get you in on a secret, that people will not validate you. At this point in your life, when you're an adult, people are not going to validate you because they are themselves riddled by their own insecurities. So there's only so much that I can also say to you, that you are very lovable in my own eyes. I don't even need to know you to say that. Just by knowing who you are internally is something that is so precious to know, that you are so hard on yourself. Like, I just want to put that picture out there for you. It's almost like we look at another person and you'd be like, they suffer with insecurities. It's almost like we look at another person and we recognize, oh my god, like we love their hair, but then we realize, oh my god, like they think that their hair is not that good, and we realize like, oh my god, I would kill to have something like that. It's not that they don't appreciate what they have, it's just the way they perceive themselves that has been so distorted. It could also be your body image, or it could also just pertain to small things in your life that have always been criticized by your parents or your family members, is what I feel. So this level of perfectionism that you have been kept or upheld to is not fair. You drop it. You do me a favor and drop it. And I know it's not as easy as I make it sound. This is just probably a little bit of brief understanding, like, hey, this is what is there, and probably you have been suspecting that, and I'm giving you a confirmation that you are worthy. Stop finding flaws in yourselves to think that you're not worthy. If somebody else is rejecting you, and this is not to sound cliche, God is probably protecting you, because God never says no. The universe never says no. The universe says wait, or the universe says I have something better. And meanwhile, it is on your discernment to recognize whether I have to wait or I know I can do better. Because you know the answer inside. Whatever situation makes you feel small, I honestly feel like you can do better in that situation. Where you don't feel like you have to keep proving your worth to the other person, to prove that what do I have, is that enough for you? Am I providing enough? Am I providing enough value? You don't have to provide value. You need to know what a real relationship is with yourself, so that it feels adequate enough, so that you feel adequate enough, so that you don't feel like you're blocking love, you're chasing it, you're pushing it away. Because all these blockages are a manifestation of not feeling worthy of love. Alright, so pile number 2, I'm gonna leave your reading here. I really do hope that you found a message that was helpful. If you did, please do hit the like button, subscribe for more, hit the bell icon so you know whenever I upload next. Let me know down in the comment section how it resonated. Information for personal readings is given down below. Now I'm going to see you guys in another one. Bye. Hello, pile number 3. If you chose the green Aventurine, this is going to be your reading. So, the first few cards that we have: Strength, Consciousness in reverse. I'm gonna take it upright. Deep diver diving into a task. Queen of Swords in reverse. The Hermit. Eight of Cups in reverse. Right, so what I'm seeing over here as your current energy, which is very inclusive with seeing your worth, right? As the title of the reading describes. We have Virgo energy. Strength always reminds me of Leo. Of course, consciousness is giving me High Priestess vibes, Piscean energy. A lot of it is very inclusive of diving deep into understanding your emotional unavailability, right? And a lot of us suffer with it, okay, including myself. Like, there's parts of me which I don't even know have been caged up because of my childhood. And understanding that your parents did the best that they could is such a difficult thing to do, because we are still looking at them with such wounded eyes. The perspective that we have, that you should have taken care of me, is what I'm seeing over here. So there's perhaps something that is very related with your speech, because you have so much passive aggression within you, which is definitely a barrier to your heart and your true self, right? So supposedly we have three layers. Layer number one is the one at the topmost, which is who you present yourself to be. Layer number two is all the ego, the woundedness that we have. And layer number three is our true self that loves, wants to love, gives love. So considering layer number one is not really matching with layer number three as of now, is the whole criteria of this reading, seeing your worth, because you're not able to live the way you actually would like to live and the way it would suffice your time being here, because you're struggling with layer number two, which is with the wounds over here. So seeing your worth is to realize over here, pile number two, that you deserve to understand, unleash, kind of like let the cells repair itself, metaphorically speaking, in a sense where you do the work to reach where you feel safe enough to be yourself. Your childhood could have been very inclusive of parts where you were just not allowed to be who you wanted to be. And this is not a reading to criticize that, but this is to bridge the gap between why you feel like you're not worthy, because you yourself perceive your true self to not be worthy, because whoever told you that in your childhood or even in teenage, these things happen, or a very crucial relationship in your life could have told you that who I am is not worth being loved, because they think or they make me feel like I'm too difficult to be loved. So when I talk about a relationship, I do not just limit that to a romantic relationship. I give it the broad perspective to be inclusive of all relationships in your life. So when we are taking that hand in hand, we are realizing, like, oh my god, like, there's not just one person who's made me feel like who I am truly is too much, or I'm a burden, or I feel too much. It's almost giving, like, let's start from the bottom, where perhaps when you were emotional, your parents used to tell you that your emotions, you need to stop showing that to me in some shape or form. Okay, I'm paraphrasing. They would isolate you, they would leave you, they would not ask you, they would not cater to you, they would tell you to stop crying. Basically, they would just tell you to, like, shush, like shoo you away or something like that, like, because your emotions, they couldn't handle their own, and they felt like your emotions are too much. So a lot of people that you have manifested in your life have been a reflection of your parents in some shape or form, whether it be your mother or your father. They have replicated that energy. And to understand this reality of life, that the only toxic relationship you've always had was with yourself. Other people have just been a reflection of that. So this is a very profound statement to really absorb that whatever you're attracting in your life right now and feeling like I'm unworthy is because you have to do the inner work. There is no easier way that I can beat around the bush or give you a shortcut to that healing, because the only way is to go through it, to grow through it. So a pathway that you're trying to, circle around it or not go through it is just a way that you don't want to confront those painful feelings that are inside you. I feel like a part of you already feels like, my emotions are too much, because you have this, probably when you get into a relationship, you become very attached, you avoid commitment, or you become too attached to the person, is because you don't have that healthy boundary with yourself. So that codependency prevails in other relationships, whatever relationship it is. Okay, I am reminding you again and again, this is not just your romantic relationships, it's in your friendships, it's in your relationships with your parents, because maybe your parents made it okay, or you learned that behavior, that dumping, emotionally dumping in whichever form it comes, yelling, screaming, shouting, shutting down, stonewalling, silent treatment, whatever it is okay, because I can't handle my emotions, and I'm gonna throw that away on you. So there's not only a lack of boundary in your relationships, why relationships feel so suffocating is because you attract and you also believe that people are supposed to take care of my baggage. People, all right, let's clear this thing up, which could be quite contrary to popular belief that goes on social media. And in my perspective, one thing I really want to let you know, if you're on this journey right now, I think that you should really refrain from taking up social media quotes to justify your relationship status or something like that, because social media is the worst place to compare relationships and take guidance from there. What you would really benefit from is a professional to help you through this, or meditation. Apart from that, when we talk about reassurance, and something that is really spoken about on social media, is that people think that a person should be their ride or die. In terms of loyalty, they have misconstrued boundaries. So they think that another person is constantly liable of reassuring them, carrying their baggage with them. No, my friend, no. No person is liable for carrying your baggage. And if this triggers you right now, I know I'm saying the right thing, because that person is not at all liable to take care of your baggage. That person already has their own, and you probably don't like hearing that because you don't create space for your own baggage. Now, I know that this can come as a very big call out to you, but I mean, so be it. That person is not responsible for your baggage. Reassurance comes up when you're facing a trigger. Okay, they did that once, they did that twice, third, fourth, fifth time, sixth time, you're forcing, for example, your trust issues on that person. You're putting false allegations. You're doing this and that, or you're with an emotionally unavailable person and you're constantly criticizing them. Why aren't you making time for me? My friend, why are you chasing an emotionally unavailable person? Because a part of you is okay with their unavailability, because if they start behaving available, they start becoming available, you will drop them that moment, because you're not attracted to that person, you're attracted to their emotional unavailability. So seeing this for what it is to dive deeper inside, to understand that, hey, I am saying this because as your reader, I have also been there. So I'm only able to bring this clarity to you because I have also had to walk the path that you are walking right now. And it's not at all that it is, oh my God, it is difficult. Fuck yeah, it is difficult, because I had to see where I was self-sabotaging. If I had to sum it up, which still prevails, is that the only toxic relationship I have is with myself. Other people are just a reflection of it. So if I don't like what is being presented in my life, I have to go inside and find out, why is it happening? Whether it is inclusive of shame for the things that I have done in my past, whether it is for guilt, where I've hurt other people, but for most I have hurt myself, whether it is for feeling unworthy of love. I have to retrace footsteps back into my childhood where I was made felt like that. Whether it is I feel like I'm not seen, where am I not seeing myself? So a lot of these things really circle down back to you, circle around you. It ends and it begins with you. So having to really understand what are you avoiding, and this is your subconscious energy. This is the energy, and seeing your worth, how it ties in this reading, is to just believe that, you know what, I deserve to heal myself. Like, why am I treating myself the way people have treated me in the past? So if you have shame related to the things that you have done in your survival mode, the ways that you have belittled yourself, the ways you have diminished yourself in your own eyes, you have to look yourself in the eyes and be like, I, god damn it, made a mistake. You know why? Because there were needs that you had to get met, and you didn't know how to meet them or get them met by other people. So you chose the shortcuts to it, right? Because you don't know how to voice them out. And perhaps you don't even know what are your emotional needs. So, for example, if there's somebody that's promiscuous, we judge them, we think that they're promiscuous. But what are they trying to get? They're trying to get intimacy that they crave so much, and they feel like they will not get that in a loving relationship, or perhaps they might not even get a loving relationship. So what is that person doing? They're trying to get a need met through whichever way possible. So forgive yourself for doing things that you think were, skittish, childish, beneath you, because you did not know how to meet them in another form. Seeing your worth is to recognize you're a human and you did as best as you could, and now it's time to change things up. Because now you have the understanding as to how to genuinely get that need met face to face, rather than taking indirect ways, going around it, taking shortcuts to get it met. Because it only like shatters you or makes you feel low about yourself. Building your self-confidence will not come that easy. It is not exactly where you will just do the inner work and it'll come to you. It will be the eradication of self-doubt. So the more that you keep your word to yourself, you will keep building self-trust. So the more self-trust you build, you will be more capable of understanding, like, hey, I can walk out in the world and I can deal with this situation head on. That is how self-confidence is built. It is by the eradication of self-doubt. So a lot of things, you have to connect the dot. Sitting upon it and just, I don't know, going to the gym, building your body and doing everything on the surface level, the layer number 1, what you show to the world, will not change layer number 3, will not change layer number 2, which is what you are hiding from the world. So the only way to actually merge layer number 1, 2, and 3 and arrive at layer number 3 is to face layer number 2, which is the wounded person inside you. So that ultimately, when layer number 2 and 3, the wounded person and the real self, has merged together, layer number 1 can be actually the face value of what lies inside, the intrinsic value. You will be able to show yourself as who you are. And once you recognize who you are, you understand what you need. You will be able to voice out that need, and you won't have to take shortcuts to make that need met. You won't have to demean yourself. You won't have to feel like I'm belittling myself, or I'm being sneaky towards myself, or I'm self-sabotaging. Do you get my point? So you avoid layer number 2 as much as you want to. You will not have any sort of cohesiveness within yourself. It is a red pill, blue pill kind of a thing. It is a tough call, but it is completely up to you. I can't make that decision. Nobody can. It is completely up to you. This is not a motivational video. This is literally a reality check for you, pile number 3. So I'm going to pull out a few more cards to see what comes out for you. We do have another pre-shuffle card. We have Dream Thief, Refusal of Call. I am not even surprised this came out. Number 13 reduces to 4. This is about stability. This is about holding back. Refusal of the call. This is like you've been told, you've been multiple times told, the universe has been giving you signs. The signs are everywhere. But you refuse to go beyond the image of pain and abuse, because it has been comfortable. Let's agree on that. We have the divine. This is about connectivity of all things. That's what I said. The signs are everywhere. And we have the Father of Swords. This could have been triggered by a divine counterpart, or it just talks about your masculine and feminine energies inside. So what this is really telling me is that this is related to your parental figures, and you know that. This is about perhaps you going into episodes of depression because there's so much that you're dealing with, right? And it feels like a huge mountain on your shoulders because, of course, like the more you refuse, it's like when there's a wound inside, the longer you let it fester, the longer it hurts. It takes time to heal. So the quicker you cure it or take care of it, the quicker it heals. We can't change our past. We can't keep cribbing about it. We can just accept it, and learn how to process things the way they are supposed to be. This is what life has given us, and what I mean by the way it is supposed to be is this is what it was meant to be. If we all just sit and cry about the injustices that have happened, Four of Cups, we cry about it, we will not get anywhere. Four of Wands, about our home life, how our childhood was not given to us. So we have Six of Pentacles, about equal give and take, about that reciprocity in relationships. I know you want it. I know this reading could have been rough on you. But sometimes you need that tough love, because I think that you just don't hear it. You don't want to hear it, pile number 3. You just don't want to hear what needs to be done for you. And you can cuss me out as much as you want, but I know you'll remember this, because somebody has to always be brave enough in our lives to tell us like, hey, you're fucking up. And that love is in the form of literally calling you out and being like, hey, I care about you, so just listen up. Okay, take a breather, really let this simmer down inside, that you are the one who's holding yourself back. We can't change our past. I wish I could, but we can't change the past. Alright? So pile number 3, this was your reading. I'm going to leave it here. I really do hope that you found a message that was helpful. If you did, please do hit the like button, subscribe for more, hit the bell icon so you know whenever I upload next. Let me know down in the comment section how that resonated. Information of personal readings is given down below. And I'm going to see you guys in another one. Bye.